Hi everyone. Today we're going to start our unit on earth science. Now earth science has to do with everything that's on our earth, from the land to the oceans to the air, and even things that are not physically on earth but affect the earth. What I have in front of me are 3 cups, and in just a minute I'm going to show you what happens when I take off the lid into the contents of the cup. On this table you'll see that I have 3 different cups. Looks like coffee cups, and they are coffee cups, but they're not holding coffee. They have special type of beads, and I'm going to take out one. I'm going to take off the lid, and you can see the beads inside. What I want you to do is focus on the color. What color does it look like? And I'm going to take it and put it on the table. And I want you to focus on the color now. What happened to the color of the bead? Is it white? No. It's multicolored, right? Yellow, pink, green, purple, all different colors. The other thing you'll notice is where I placed the beads. Did I place them in a shady spot or in a sunny spot? Let's try that again. I'm going to leave this, move it to the side. I have another cup, and I have, again, more white beads, and I'm going to put it on the table. And what did you notice again? Did they stay white? Well, they didn't, right? Let's put them all next to each other, the 3 that we've had, and they are, again, multicolored. Now I have a 3rd cup. Now this 3rd cup is a little bit different. Has white beads. I'm going to take these and I'm going to put them on the table as well. Now what do you notice about these beads? Are they staying white? They are, right? How could that be? Well, do you notice something different with the white beads as opposed to the colored beads? Think about it. Why did the beads change color? And why did my 2nd set not change color? And they're just faintly colored now. They're not as white, but they're definitely not as colored as the ones next to them. Can you figure out why these changed color and why these did not? And why did they even change color when I took them out of my coffee cup? Well, you notice that inside of my coffee cup were the bracelets, the little beads, but they also had a lid on them. What was the lid protecting the beads from? And another hint is where I placed it on the table, right? My table has a shady spot and a sunny spot. Did I put it in the shade or the sun? I put it in the sun. These are actually UV colored beads. They change color with exposure to UV rays. What are UV rays? They're the ultraviolet rays produced by the sun. Now, these 3 bracelets did change color, but these 2 did a little bit. They did a little bit, but not as much as this one. Can you tell what I had on these beads? This was a little bit of sunblock. I covered my beads with sunblock, and they didn't change as much. They changed a little bit, which means UV still gets through the sunblock, but not as much as the first one. Now, it's the sun, the powerful UV rays from the sun, that can affect the beads changing color. Now, what we're going to talk about today is the sun and all the other stars that are in our universe. Here's a picture that I want you to look at. And what I want you to do is just make some observations in your mind. What do you notice? What do you see? Where do you think this is? What are some questions that you have? Now, I'm not going to tell you where this picture was taken, how it was taken, when it was taken, and I'm not even going to tell you what it is. I want you to come up with different ideas and also look at the picture very carefully. You see one big circle, you see a few small circles, but then in the picture you see tons and tons and tons of little tiny dots. What are all of those tiny dots? Do they all look the same? Well, they're not the same size, but what else is different about them? Are they all the same brightness? So what did you think when you look at this picture? What do you think this big shining circle is? What do you think these tiny ones are? Could it be a sun? Could it be our sun? What about the other ones? Is this the sun because it's so much bigger? Or does it look big to us? Which one is it? Well, we don't know a lot about this picture, so we can't say if that's the sun or if another one of these little dots is the sun. There are two terms that I want to teach you. The first one is absolute magnitude. Now, absolute magnitude is how bright a star actually is if it were seen from a standard distance. Apparent magnitude is how bright a star appears when you're looking at it from Earth. So we have all of these different stars, and you know the sun is a special type of star, and the sun appears to be so much bigger than all the other stars. But is it really so much bigger, or is it something else? We'll answer that at the end of the class. And luminosity is how bright a star is, the measure of brightness of a star. To do this part of the lab, the only thing that you're going to need are two identical flashlights, batteries fresh, and fresh light bulbs if possible, and a dark room. Okay, now I'm in my dark room. Shouldn't be able to see anything but black right now. I have my two flashlights and I have a plain white wall. And what I'm going to do is turn on my two flashlights. And you can see that they are exactly the same brightness when they are the same distance from the wall. I'm going to keep one close as I move one away. What do you notice about the brightness of the flashlight that I took away? Did it get brighter or did it get dimmer? Now let's take that back and compare the brightness again. Now let's take the other one back and compare the brightness again. Did it get brighter or did it get dimmer? Let's take it all the way back down to the same. Now, they're exactly the same amount of brightness right now. Their absolute magnitude is going to be the same. Same flashlight, same battery, same light bulb. Their brightness, their absolute brightness, the actual brightness is exactly the same. What is changing though is the apparent magnitude, because as I move it away, it appears to be not as bright. Look. Did the brightness actually change of the flashlight? Is the flashlight now dimmer? No. The apparent brightness has changed. The apparent magnitude has changed because the distance has changed. Now, go ahead and try this with your own flashlights, and you can add in more flashlights if you want. If you have a bigger room, it'll be a lot more fun. You can bring in someone to help you hold the flashlights. It wasn't easy for me to hold both, but 2 is doable. But if you have more than 2 flashlights, you might need more help. And try it. Hold them at the same distance, move one back further, and just observe the luminosity on the wall. Take them back and take them forward again. Now, one more example that might help you understand how the distance will affect the brightness of the star that we are seeing, or the light that we are seeing. Now, as I sit here, what do you notice now? Something's different, right? Feel a breeze, feel a hair moving, the tablecloth's moving. What does that do to you? What do you think that is? Do you think it's gonna change if I move? Let's try it. Let me come and stand back a little bit. Is my hair moving now? The tablecloth is still moving, but what about my hair? Let me come back a little closer. Do you notice it? What do you think is happening? Is there something that, when I get closer to it, makes my hair move and I feel it? As I stand up and move back, I don't feel it as much. Still feel it a little bit, but definitely not as strong. Pause this video for a minute and think about it. What could be happening? Did you get it? Well, I have a fan set up out here. The fan is on the highest possible setting. It's on setting 3, and I feel the fan right here. Did I go and change the setting at all on the fan? I didn't. But why is it that when I moved, I couldn't feel it anymore? It's because my distance changed. I wasn't as close to the fan as I am now. So the absolute magnitude of the fan is the same. It's on setting 3. But the apparent magnitude changes as I move. So if we come back and take a look at this picture, can we tell if this is the sun, the moon, or another star? We really can't, because we don't have any other information. The one thing that we do know that might help us is that the sun is 100 times bigger than the earth, and the earth is 4 times bigger than the moon. But the sun is also 400 times further from the earth than the moon is, which means that the sun and the moon appear to be the same size on earth. But are they the same size? No. The moon is just closer. Now, the other thing that you might ask is, well, the sun. The sun is a star. Is it the biggest star? What do you think, based on what we've learned? It's not the biggest. It just happens to be the closest. That's why it appears to be so bright. Now, make sure you complete the worksheet attached to this YouTube video.